I'm Matt Channel, welcome. Right, this video is going to be about comparing brass to gold and a little bit about gold. Yeah, prices are really high at the moment, so I've heard online people are getting scammed. Like, with big money always brings scams. If you get offered something and it sounds too good to be true with the price, it likely is. I just ordered a bit of 18 karat gold in 3mm square, and it looks very similar to 3mm square brass wire I've got. So I'll put them side by side, and we'll talk about how other alloys might look a bit like gold, but at the end of the day they're totally different. So I'll give you some advice. So I get into it after, so thank you to new patrons. We've got a few over the last week. We got Ethan Rector, Kaylin, Leon Weber, Alex Cook, Eves Costa and Alison Dyer. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the patrons. I say this every time, but it's because it's true. This channel wouldn't be possible without the contributions from the patrons. I'm really grateful because I enjoy making the videos, and I do think the information is useful to people looking to learn to make jewellery. So if you want to contribute yourself, it's patron.com/diamondmelter. There's a link in the description if you don't want to type all that in. I wouldn't blame you. Yeah, click on the link. It takes you to Patron. You can choose between contributor, supporter, classic or official patrons. Different prices, and you get different benefits for different level tiers. But yeah, basically you get a shout out on next upload after you join. You get access to the new YouTube videos 2 weeks before they go public on YouTube, and official and classic patrons will get all that plus access to the full instructional guides, and the officials get exclusive content as well, and messaging each other. Like, I help people out personally with what they're up to making jewellery. So yeah, I hope you join. If not, just watch, enjoy. Do me a favour, just click like and subscribe. That also helps the channel. And yeah, let's get into it. So I'm in Japan, but I still buy metal from Cookson's in England, because I like to, when I make stuff, still like to get it hallmarked in England. And I don't fully trust gold from other countries. They might sell it to me as 18 karat, but it might not be. If it's just below 750, 75% purity, they won't hallmark it as 18, they'll hallmark it as 14, and it means I've been ripped off. So anyway, just to eliminate any doubt, I just still buy my metal from England. Just for like £7 extra postage or something, it's worth it, I think. Anyway, right, so that's 18 karat, and that's brass. You can see that's quite tarnished. I might buff it a little bit in a minute and try and make them look more similar. So we've got brass and gold and brass. Which one's which? I don't know, you tell me. I can tell clearly. When you've got experience working in precious metals, you barely need to look at it. 18 karat, white gold, platinum, silver, they're all white metals. You can tell from across the room what they are, and especially when it's in your hand, just holding it. They've got a certain feel to the surface, and especially the weight really gives it away for me. Picking up that's clearly brass to me. That feels so light compared to that. So if you get offered in an unusual or unlikely situation to buy some gold, someone just comes up to you on a street and asks if you want to buy a gold curb bracelet or something, a bit of common sense. It's not legit. And if there's like, there's always going to be some sort of story. I lived in rough areas around London, East London, for years, like Bethnal Green, Newington Green before it became posh, Dalston, Stoke Newington, Canonbury, Finsbury Park. These are all my areas, like all around Brick Lane, like Bethnal Green and that, and like all around Shoreditch. It's all my area. That was my home when I lived in London. Yeah, so I saw plenty of dodgy things going on, loads of fights. I remember I was on the top deck of a bus once. Someone just come upstairs and was like, mate, and I was like, turn around, he's like, do you want to buy a gold chain? I was like, sorry. I was like, I ain't got any money. I was just thinking, like, of all the people you could have asked, like the professional jeweller is the last person who would buy your scammy gold chain, especially middle of the night on the top deck of a bus. Anyway, so if you get offered something, you might want to go through the motions, keep it polite. You might be talking to a proper career criminal. It's probably best to stay on their good side. If you hold it, I mean, first of all, if it's freshly plated things, they're always overly bright. They're overly orangey, like they're trying too hard to make it look like 24 karat gold. 18 karat, especially 9 karat, it's a much more light colour. If the plating doesn't give it away to you immediately, the weight surely will. A big, especially anything kind of big, like gold chain is meant to be solid, it's going to feel very light. I can give you an example of difference. These two bits of metal, same dimensions, yeah? I'll show you the difference in weight. So I'll show you the difference in weight. Put the brass on first. 3 just over 3, 3.4, and then this, I reckon this will be over 5. Yeah, 5 and 5.46. So that's almost double. Is that right? Yeah, just over 3, slightly under 6. So it's so noticeable. Obviously, watching the video, you can't feel the difference. But even these relatively small bits of metal, that's nothing compared to like a big curb chain, or especially a necklace that's quite long. If you pile it all up in your hand and just hold it in a lump in your hand, it's going to be so noticeable how light it is if it's not gold. So I remember years ago, English people will remember this, English people in their 40s, we had a politician, Gordon Brown. Our government at the time just sold off half of our gold reserves. And I remember thinking, I'm sure I was working full time. It was a long time ago, but I was working full time. So I'm assuming it's the beginning of my career. And I knew about gold prices as well. But I hate that about governments and politicians. They just continue to make bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. It always seems to be opposite of what the actual people want. So I'm going to look up what happened there. Okay, so I found this. I'm interested to read this because this is something I just remember that annoys me about politicians. It's called one of the worst investment decisions of all time. Told you, Chancellor of the Exchequer, Gordon Brown, he was selling tons of British gold reserves. I don't remember you asking me, Gordon. Yeah, timing was terrible. Yeah. Hindsight may be a wonderful thing, but there were people warning against the move, including the Bank of England. Okay. Between 1999 and 2002, they sold 401 tons of gold. Does that sound like something that may cost a great deal of money nowadays? Look at that. They sold it here and the price has gone whoop. This chart only goes to 2019, so I looked up a more modern one. So he sold it here, so yeah. And the price has just basically gone up the entire time. The price now, about 18, I did it in pounds, not US dollars, £1,800. There you go, look. So what I did to find out how much that'll be worth nowadays, I had to find out how much 401 tons is in ounces. It ended up being 12,832,000 ounces. Times that by today's gold price in pounds. And the result is that gold they sold today, illegally in my opinion, that gold would be worth 23,841,856,000 pounds. Think of all the houses we could buy for illegal immigrants with that money. Yeah, politicians. Where's our money, Gordon? I'll just show you what it looked like if we buff them. This is the gold. It's got a nice silky sort of feel to it. There's a weighty feel gives it a sense of quality and a sort of a silkiness to it. It feels nice. This is the brass. That feels more slippery. It's a harder, more rigid metal. It literally feels more slippery on there when I'm buffing that. And that feels, even though it's the same buff stick, yeah, that feels more slippery. The gold has got a sort of a silky texture to it. That just feels, I can't quite call it plasticky, but it's just smooth. It doesn't really make sense because they are buffed to the same texture now, but that feels smoother. It just, I don't know. I mean, if you were here, I could give it to you and you might think, yeah, okay, I can feel that. You can compare the differences. But on video, I can just tell you what I feel. And it's difficult to put into words what I feel. One feels cheap, one feels expensive. That's what they are. I'll polish them now. Let's have a look how they polish up. Okay, so they look a lot more similar after polishing. I'm actually quite surprised how more closely they compare. One thing I will tell you, there's the settings, there's how my camera records the colour, then there's the colour settings on your screen, so very likely you're not seeing what I'm seeing on my eyes, but it's going to be close-ish. I will tell you, the brass looks much more yellowy, and the gold looks more gold, and if I really go advanced on the colour description, it's venturing towards brown ever so slightly, but it's what we call gold. Basically, it's gold color. The brass it's more like polished yellow. So gold prices are sky high. It's a good time if you're a jeweler. Take your scrap Lemel and stuff. Do it now. It's going to get a lot of money for it. I mean, this skin, us jewelers, if you're new to making jewellery, you've got to collect all the dust. It's like partly to stop dust going all over you when you're working, you're filing and stuff. Main reason is to collect it all because it's so valuable. Like, it's always surprising how much money you get when you send this stuff for scrap. So yeah, when the gold prices are high, you've got a lot of it, it's worth doing, so you get a lot of money. Big differences between high price gold prices and low gold prices. So yeah, gold prices are high. A lot of that is inflation, remember. Should you have been investing in gold? I don't think so. I think there are better alternatives. I may do a video on gold versus Bitcoin. Like I've mentioned Bitcoin before on my channel a few years ago. I've been buying it. Basically, I'm in Japan, yeah, Japanese yen is going, and I feel like I'm just sat like on a cliff just watching it unaffected, because all of my money, all of my savings are in Bitcoin, basically. Almost all of it. 90-something% of it. So yeah, my value of my savings, my investments, doing this, everything else is going down, and then Bitcoin compared to gold, there's no comparison. People who've been putting their money in Bitcoin are laughing at people who've been putting their money into gold. You would have made very little money on it over years, even though when you look at the charts, it's doing this. So's the value of your currency is doing this at the same time. It's a little bit deceptive, so you've got to really sort of understand what's going on. Anyway, I can do all that more in depth in a separate video. But yeah, as for gold and brass, my idea for this was just basically having the 18 karat gold and being able to really closely replicate the dimensions of it with a piece of brass and comparing them side by side. After polishing, I was surprised how similar they look. But if someone's trying to scam you, what you're buying is most likely, very likely going to be plated. If it's brass or some sort of base metal, it's going to tarnish quickly. Gold doesn't tarnish that much, especially 18 karat, the higher karat ones. It's going to be plated, and the plating gives it away as well. They always seem to go too orangey. Like, it's just, I can spot plating. I don't even have to touch it. I can just see it's plated gold. Yeah, brass is about 70% copper and about 30% zinc. I don't really understand it. I don't know why it ends up gold color, because neither zinc or copper are yellow. For some reason, the alloys mixed together come out yellow. But yeah, it does tarnish. It's a very coppery metal. When you actually cut into it and stuff and put it in the acid, it goes more coppery colour. When you polish it, it comes back up yellow. It's a bit of a weird one, and it's very light, it's very stiff, yeah, compared to gold. So anyway, be careful. Don't buy anything off people who are not legit bullion dealers, and you're taking it to be sold. Don't go to those guys who've set up a little stall in the supermarket, in the shopping centre. Take it to a proper like bullion dealer where they can really test it with lasers and assays and stuff, and then you can be more confident that the price you're getting is a fair price compared to those guys in the shopping malls. So they're going to scam you. They're going to buy your gold for like at most half of what it's worth, and then they'll take it to the place where you can go as well. There's places in Hatton Garden. Pressman's, I think is one. It's been years since I've been there. There was Pressman's, there was one next to it. Cookson's, you can go to the back of the big shop in Cookson's. There's a Cookson's in Birmingham as well. I think you can do the same. Yeah, just do a bit of research, because it's worth, if you've got a lot of gold to sell, it's worth the extra time of researching where a reputable place to sell it, and even travel costs and everything. It can be well worth your time, because you can get a lot more than you expect. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Yeah, click like and subscribe, helps the channel grow, supports me. If you want to take it a step further, become a Diamond Mounter member. Look for a join button. Shout out to the Diamond Mounter members. I do see your names on my screen all the time. Do really appreciate you as well. Shouldn't go unnoticed. Shouldn't go unmentioned. And yeah, if you want to take it a step further, become a Diamond Mounter patron. It's patron.com/Diamond Mounter. Link in the description and all that. If not, just watch, enjoy, and hope you come back for the next upload. Before I go, I will mention there's a new full instructional guide I'm working on. It's going to be my most advanced, most difficult to make one ever. It's a really big job going through the video. And yeah, so it's an opportunity if you want to step up your game, or if you just want to see if you're just interested on how the more advanced stuff gets made. It might be a video you want to check out, but it's going to be patrons only. It's a full instructional guide. So anyway, whatever you want to do, I hope to see you again on the next upload. Bye bye.